year 3, in the 3-year period of the Explorer program, you've had upwards of close to 80 kids go through. How does that make you feel to know that 80 kids or close to 80 kids have had a chance to kind of experience the program?
It feels good. It's, you know, some of the kids who started didn't complete, and I feel bad about that. But at the same time, I think when some of the youngsters drop out for whatever reason or stop attending, it says that much more for the youngsters that do complete it.
Right.
Because it was a commitment. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things we're trying to teach the kids, as well as not only what's involved in law enforcement and public safety, but also about the word commitment. If you sign up for something and you make a commitment, and if you can't make it, things come up. Give us a phone call, let us know why you can't be here. That's all. So for the youngsters that completed it, I think it's kudos. They really did a nice job. And some of those youngsters, this was their 2nd year.
Right. Well, Juan Carlos.
Yes, Juan
was his
Carlos.
2nd year.
Yep.
Where did the idea for the program come from? Why was it, why was it important to, or
No,
why is it important to have this program in place?
Well, I think it's important because, we do the Junior Police Academy.
Right.
That's ages 9 to 12. Then the kids become teenagers, and there's really nothing for them there that we as the police department do as far as an organized program. Right. The Junior Police Academy is nice. You take the kids out, they go on a boat ride, they go up to the stables, they get a pony ride. But this is kind of like 2 steps beyond that. And also, we want to reach out to youngsters that are high school students because they're going to be making some very difficult decisions that, quite honestly, are going to impact the rest of their life. They're sophomore, junior, seniors in high school. They're going to try to figure out what they want to do with their life. And our goal in this program is to just basically kind of help them to make a decision. And that decision could very well be not to become a police officer or to go into the public safety field. But if that's the case, if we've helped them make that decision, then to me it was a success.
I mean, I'm just writing down 2 words here: exposure and education, or education via exposure. It's every other week is a different facet. Every other week is a different component of law enforcement. Sometimes it's police officers, but as is the case when you take them to the West Rock Supreme Court, and I know you keep emphasizing, hey, this isn't just for people who want to be cops. It's also for the young person who might want to be a lawyer or a judge or a corrections officer. How important is that piece of the program?
It's real important because, unfortunately, the youngsters sometimes when they see television, they see a court or a judge on TV. They're seeing Judge Judy or someone like that, and the real world doesn't really hit them until they actually walk into the courtroom. They sit in a session, and I can't say anything more positive about Judge Coffey than just she's a wonderful person.
She was great. She's great.
And, I think what helps is also being a resident of the community, and as a parent, having 3 children, and not only does she take the time, first of all, allow us to bring the kids in, but takes the time to talk to the youngsters afterwards. But she also made it possible for the youngsters to talk to both the district attorney and the defense attorney and talk about their roles.
And during the trial, though, when a recess was taken, she welcomed the kids, then asked them, why they were here, what they were hoping to do, what are some of their goals and dreams and stuff, and then the case resumed, and then she had like a debriefing afterwards with the kids. So it was that from her perspective, she couldn't have been more generous with her time.
She is. I can't say enough about it. She's so accommodating because she's done both sessions. And if she's tied up in a session, she makes another judge available. We get a tour of the courthouse if time allows. She's just been great. She's just been a real big supporter of this program from day one.
At the end of the session, and as you can see with the graduation, a lot of happy faces. Kids are pretty excited about it. And anytime, again, Mike, anytime a kid in high school, like you said, gets up for a night to be someplace at 9 a.m. on a day they could sleep in, and they finish out the program, that in itself is an achievement. But what did you hope? And I think you touched on it a little bit about if the kids find out whether or not it's something they want to do. But what do you hope the kids will kind of get out of it at the end of it?
A little bit about us as police officers. They got to talk to you. They were able to talk to Matt Hogart, myself.
Talk to Jerry Boyce.
Charlie Wheeler, a bunch of different officers who come from different backgrounds. So that was a plus. We familiarize them we give them a lot of information. Hopefully they take that back. We give them some books to read. to make them aware of what's involved in law enforcement. It's not just what you see on, you know, the TV show Cops or whatever, but there's a lot more involved. There's a lot of education involved.
Again, Jerry Boyce talking to the kids up at the Mounted Unit, talking about the Explorer program. You had the kids this year, and I think you have in the past, write a reflection paper, as one of the kids came to call it. And I'm just going to, some of the things that I looked through some of the papers and just some of the feedback. You know, one kid said, the trip to the Suffolk County House of Corrections was unforgettable. Hearing from an inmate was extremely powerful.
It was, and that particular inmate, he was the one that talked to both groups, the first and the second session. And it was amazing because he had a 4-year ride to a local college for playing sports, and he says it point blank, I messed up. No one else did, I messed up. Doing drugs, carrying drugs, selling drugs. I gave a great statement, a great talk to the youngsters, took any question and said, ask me anything, I'll give you an answer. Just a real good person, and I mean that sincerely. He just gave a really good talk. Yeah.
A good kid who made a bad mistake, and now was going to pay for it for the rest of his life, right? Assuming what he was in there for.
And, you know, the other eye-opener at the jail was when the students were taking the tour, and they see the prisoners inside the cells. Right. Some of them weren't exactly the happiest people to be there.
Which is, understandable.
And it was just amazing for some of the kids, their reaction. John Carlos Bautista, a year ago, when he says, are you going to be with us? Right. Why are you turning your gun in? He didn't know what to expect. Right. But it was an eye-opener, and who knows, that may help them about making the right decision.
Well, not only does it help them make decisions, but one of the kids had written that, you know, as a police officers have a tremendous amount of power when it comes to helping or influencing people. And the lesson, one of the kids got out was, you know, I would like to think that if I were a police officer, I would influence a person or a young person in such a way that they wouldn't make those bad decisions.
Good point.
Which I thought was because you never know what kids are going to get out of it.
Nope.
One said, it reinforced my dream to be a police officer.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear.
And again, it's just, if you're hoping, you know, I'm a big believer in the power of one. If you get through to one of these kids, that's great. Yeah. You've had close to 80 kids go through the program. Yeah. Again, I'm a big believer in, hey, if one is able to come out of that program and say, this program made a difference in my life, it impacted and affected me in such a positive way that I pursued something I wanted to pursue, then I think that's great. Another one said, we won't say who, but I kind of agree with her. But please, whatever you do not close the Mounted Unit.
Yes.
And it speaks to the impact. I mean, you can't help but go up there. And again, Jerry Boyce, we started earlier, very generous with his time, an articulate guy talking about something he loves to do. And for the kids to get up and close, see the horses, see the impact it had. It was interesting to see one of the kids come back and say, hey, how can you... I mean, granted, we don't make those decisions on this show, but an interesting...
The other thing that's interesting about that is, and we didn't talk to them this time, but in the past we have, the civilian employees up there, and I'm not getting into the whole political thing of it, but they're just wonderful people. Right. And they're very informative to the youngsters because, you know, the officers are getting ready to go out on duty and they're speaking to the youngsters. But these civilians up there, the hostlers, and they'll talk about what their job is. And some of these kids, and Katie's a great example, she has her own horse, loves horses, and the people up there have just been very, very friendly, very accommodating.
They've been great.
They have been. They've been great.
And speaking of which, another one of the youngsters, one of the kids said, I was surprised to see all the civilian opportunities. Unfortunately.
Yes, in the department. That's one of the things we stress from day one, that, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to become a police officer. But there's a lot of opportunities for civilian employees, from dispatchers to traffic supervisors to attorneys to, you know, working in the crime lab. You know, Amy Katz and her group in the crime lab were great. And I don't think they realized it, the opportunities that are there for them if they do not want to become a police officer.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the nice thing about it. It's not just police officer or nothing. Having had the exposure to the different departments they had a chance to see, they realize it's police officer and then there's a litany of, or list of other things they can do. This particular one I liked, And again, to me, I think the program is about, it's high school kids trying to make decisions about where they want to go. You know, when I go to college, what do I want to study? How do I figure out, you know, what my journey or path is going to be? One of the kids wrote, I can't wait to study, I now can't wait to study criminal justice when I get to college.